If you run consistently and you've never had your balance assessed, it's only a matter of time before those injuries occur. You're not in pain right now. You're showing up every week, your runs, your weight training, you feel strong. But there's something that runners never assess that quietly leads to a majority of the injuries that I see and treat every day in the clinic. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, how to spot it, and what to do about it. This video is not for elite athletes, professional runners that have a whole group of individuals around them. You know, they've got the running team, they've got the nutritionists, athletic trainers. This is not for them. This is for you. This is for you, the recreational runner that runs out 2-3 times a week, that goes to run to clear their head, mental clarity, their me time. You know, rain or shine, you're out there. That is the runner that I'm speaking to right now. Most runners concern themselves with mileage, shoes, the type of workout they're going to do. Hey, are we doing an interval today? Are we doing a tempo run today? Long run? How many times are we running this week? You know, they also focus on stretching, getting in a warm up before you run. All of that is good things. We need to focus on that. But no one looks at balance. And I'm not just talking about single leg balance, making sure you can stay upright when you're on one leg. I'm talking about a specific balance that has to deal with running specifically, how your body dissipates forces when you're on a single leg, when you're loading it every step of the way, every step of your run. Can your body handle that stress? When your balance is off, that generally leads to overcompensation at a different region, a different muscle. And these injuries present as shin splints, knee pain, IT band syndrome, hip tightness, hip feeling that I just can't loosen up. It just is always engaged. All of those things generally lead back to a balance problem. And most people just don't know to assess it. We know, hey, we're having knee pain, we're going to do some knee exercises. We're having hip pain, we're going to do some hip exercises. But a lot of those injuries could be a result of balance. Most injuries I deal with in the clinic do not come from running too much. Yes, some, but most of them do not. They come from having a balance issue that has never been assessed. And you're not taught this at the run club. Your medical doctor or your PCP probably doesn't go over this because runners are a different breed. We end up going out, rain, shine, hail, treadmill runs, outdoor runs, trail runs, and we're loading our body in a very different way than the average person that just walks around or sits and stands. We need to get that single leg balance assessed under the appropriate load while you're running. Most runners find out they have a balance issue once they have an injury. Then they think, hey, if I rest, I ice, put some heat on it, it will feel better. However, rest does not treat the issue that's really going on. It just delays the recovery. I want to talk to you about 3 things that probably your running coach, your training app, your Garmin watch, they probably haven't mentioned this at all. All right, concept number 1, single leg stability. So think about this for a second. Running is not a 2-legged sport. Hear me out. Running is a repeated series of single leg activities. It's alternating back and forth from left to right, but you're essentially on one leg every time you run. So that being said, your body, every time it pushes off with one leg, has to land in balance on a single limb, the opposite limb. And it's not just your body weight. We add in gravity, and we also add in the impact and load and landing, shock absorption of running onto that single leg. If your body is unable to maintain that single leg balance safely, cleanly, efficiently, whatever word you want to call it, in a controlled manner, your body is going to start to wobble. And they're tiny wobbles. You're not going to see excessively. If you see excessive wobbling, then we know right away we have some issues with balance. But your body might wobble a little bit, and you might not even be able to see it with the naked eye. So what we go with, tiny wobbles over thousands of steps per run, and you're doing 2, 3, 4 runs a week, it's going to result in something giving out. You're going to result in some irritation and injury after a set period of time. So first way to assess this, simple test, you can do it at home. I'm going to scoot back. You're going to stand on a single leg. Nothing around you. I don't want you being able to touch the wall or the desk. So we're standing. You're going to stand for about 30 seconds. If we make it to a minute, that's great. perfect. 30 seconds to a minute is ideal. If you notice my ankle is doing something, it's getting a lot of movement, I have to lean. I'm able to balance, but my foot is here and I'm reaching. Okay. And we're not able, and you're getting a lot of burning going on. Okay. We're still wobbling. If we notice we're unable to maintain that steady state, then that's your body telling you something important. And that kind of leads me into my next concept, my next point. Ankle movement, excessive ankle instability, wobbling, traveling to side, doesn't just stay in the ankle. It generally travels upward. All right, concept number 2, hip control. With running, your hips should remain relatively stable. There shouldn't be a lot of movement going side to side. So within reason, we want them relatively level. If your balance is off, what generally happens is you get this hip drop a little bit. You're landing on one leg, the hip kind of juts out a little bit, and you see the opposite side go down. You might not notice it on yourself because it's very hard to see yourself when you're running, but you've probably seen it and not notice what you're looking at in someone in front of you. Maybe you're at run club, maybe you're doing your 5K or half marathon, and you just see someone moving side to side at their hips, and you just think nothing of it. Generally, that is an injury waiting to happen. A lot of that comes with balance and control. So when that hip kind of juts out to the side, I'll scoot back a little. You're standing on one leg, we jut out to the side, your knee has to come in. Your shin has to rotate out. Your foot sometimes will overpronate or externally rotate, and it's your body's way of just compensating. Your trunk goes the other way. Your body's way of just compensating because it says, this person wants to run. That's great. We're going to do whatever we can to keep her upright. It doesn't care that, hey, we're doing all these compensations and alignment issues, and is probably going to result in an injury tomorrow, the next month, the next couple months. But today, we're going to stay upright because your body is an amazing machine. So when that also happens, a lot of times you're not getting hip pain with a hip drop. It presents as knee pain, shin irritation, ankle discomfort, maybe some pinching in other places. But when that happens, what do most runners do? We go to Dr. Google, we go to our PCP, and we say we're having knee pain. So we type in knee pain for runners, exercises. And we end up treating, it's a great exercise routine for the knee. But the knee is not the issue. What really is the issue is our balance and the hip control. So most of the time we end up treating the wrong issue because the knee pain, the shin irritation, or the ankle discomfort, it's more of a side effect, a symptom from a lack of balance. All right, so we've talked about single leg stability and how it affects hip control. We talked about hip control and how it affects everything above and below that joint. Everything is connected. So now we're going to talk about the ankle mechanics. Your hip drop has effect all the way down to the ankle. So we're going to talk about ankle mechanics. All right, that leads us to concept number 3, ankle mechanics. So generally, when you hit the ground, the initial contact, the first part that hits the ground is your ankle. That ankle absorbs the forces and is supposed to transfer that energy up the kinetic chain, up your body in a smooth and a controlled manner. When the ankle mechanics are off, it kind of looks like your ankle is overpronating. It's rolling inward. Maybe your foot is externally rotating. Scoot back. So it's coming inward. It's externally rotating. Sometimes you have a limited number or range of motion, so they call it dorsiflexion. If you can't go through the full range of motion, it's going to transfer those forces into the incorrect place. So maybe it goes into the shin, into the knee, into the hip, even into the back. And after a repeated number of steps, we've determined thousands per run, multiple runs per week. If those ankle mechanics are not transferring the forces correctly, it's loading into the wrong joint. And that's where some injuries occur. That's why a lot of times 2 runners can go out and run, same distance, same shoe, so same mileage, same shoe, and one ends up with shin splints and one doesn't. Most likely the ankle mechanics are off on runner number 1. And one of the most frustrating parts I see with runners is they're told, Just get new shoes. If you fix the shoe, if you correct the shoe, everything will fix itself. And that's true. I love shoes. They will help. However, you're not actually addressing what is going on with the ankle mechanics. So it will not address the full root cause. You'll still eventually end up, it might slow down that irritation and injury for a little bit, a couple weeks, couple months, but you're not taking away or correcting that irritation. And the most frustrating part is most runners are told you just need better shoes. Shoes help. I love shoes, but purchasing shoes are not actually addressing what is actually going on, that root cause, the mechanics of the ankle mechanics. So it kind of just slows down the process of leading to injury, but it doesn't take care of it. All right, I want to tell you about a story that basically connects, and it might connect to you, so you're going to listen, but it connects all three of those single leg balance, the hip control, ankle mechanics, and how they play a role and basically an everyday runner real situation. I was working with Liz a couple months ago. Liz is in her 50s. She runs 3 to 4 times a week. She strength trains 2 to 3 times a week. She goes to a boot camp on the weekend. She's very active. She has kids. She has a stressful job. So when she's not at work, when she's not going to soccer games, school functions, baseball games, when she's not doing those, she's running because it's her stress relief, her me time, her mental clarity. Liz is not a new runner. Liz has been running for about 5-6 years now. She's done multiple marathons, multiple half marathons, does on her weekend, her long runs every Saturday, does about 10 to 15 miles. Maybe not the fastest. She's not training for the Olympics, but that's her time to get out there and just de-stress, and she loves it. So she called me up one day and said, hey, I don't know what to do. She was very upset. I'm having these issues when I run, and she told me a whole backstory. She said, I went to the doctor and he told me, why are you running? You're 50 years old. This is just a normal part of aging. You don't need to run anymore. And that, she told me, she was not ready to accept. She had built this whole routine, consistency. She wakes up in the morning, she goes to run, she goes to the gym, work, does anything with personal life, kids, and just, it was her function. It kept her healthy. She enjoyed it. So to be told, don't run, it devastated her. And then she kept running a little bit. She's like, well, it will go away. So she kept pushing through it a little bit. And it would get to the point where she would go for her longer run, which, remember, that's about 10 to 15 miles every Saturday or every other Saturday. And she made it about a mile and a half, and she had to call her son to come pick her up. That's when she knew, I can't keep going. The pain is too much. I'm devastated. I'm not enjoying it. She hated it at that point because she knew it was going to bother her. So she called me up and said, I need to come in. I want to come and see what's going on. And through talking, she told me the pain is intense, but what actually hurts more is going to the run clubs and not being able to run. Seeing her friends take off and doing their 5K, 10K, she has to walk or she has to sit on the side. Going to the boot camps and not being able to participate like she used to. Again, she likes cheering on, being with her friends. It's not the same. So then we kept talking, and she said, I'm doing everything right. I'm running, I'm strength training, I'm eating healthy, I'm participating in social function with my kids, with my husband. Everything is going right. Why did this happen to me? Will I ever be able to run again like I used to? Will I enjoy it again? And so I said, let's talk. First thing I did, I had Liz do a single leg balance. Just standing there, 30 seconds, eyes open. She maintained it. She was able to hold it, but she had a lot of movement, side to side swaying. She leaning, reaching, kind of counterbalance herself, able to maintain it, but you could tell, hey, something is already going on. So I put her on the treadmill. We did the running assessment. I filmed her, and instantly I could see one side was dropping a lot more than the other. So hip control, all of a sudden off. Same thing I saw, same leg that I saw with the issue on the single leg balance. Okay. When I assessed manually her ankle, she didn't have too bad of ankle mechanics. They were still functional. What she did have was the compensation from that hip drop was traveling down that kinetic chain and causing her ankle to rotate and kind of overpronate a little bit because the body again wants to stay upright. I showed her, she ended up having some plantar fasciitis and some IT band discomfort, not necessarily coming from the hip or the lateral thigh or the foot, coming from small imbalances going on with the balance. So we did a couple of weeks of treatment, small movements, small exercises, nothing crazy, about 20-30 minutes a couple times a week. She was able to do them at home. She has already run, I think, 2 half marathons. Multiple times she's done, her 10 to 15 mile runs on the weekends. She still texts me to this day and says, I'm still running. I'm still going to boot camp. I have no pain. I'm still doing some of my exercises that I gave her as a warm up just to make sure she maintains that alignment. So I tell you that to say there are several people in your situation. She felt great until all of a sudden she didn't. And she is doing all the same things correctly. You are the same way. You're showing up in the summer heat, in the humidity, rain or shine, you're running consistently. But if you've been running for any amount of time and you've never had your balance assessed, then you're just a ticking clock. So what I am offering and what I suggest today, we're doing a $97 running assessment. The link is going to be below. Click it, fill it up. We'll give you a call back. I only have a limited number of spots because I do them personally. But I want you guys to keep running. I want you to run when you're 50, when you're 60, when you're 70. I want you to run until you don't want to run anymore. But I don't want you to stop running because of pain, because of injury, or because a doctor or a professional says, you're 50, you don't need to run. If you enjoy it, let's continue doing something that is good for your body and good for your health. Okay? Fill out the form below. I look forward to hearing from you. But again, just to recircle back to the beginning, balance needs to be assessed for any runner. I don't care if you're a newbie. I don't care if you've been running for 25 years. We're going to check single leg balance, single leg stability, hip control, and ankle mechanics, because those are the 3 main ones that I see the most issues that come, again, starts quietly and progresses into a major issue. So let's get it checked out today.